On this episode of the Wise Counsel Project, we interview Bret Baier, Fox News anchor and author of the New York Times best-selling book, Special Heart. Join us as Bret provides wise counsel to men and women of faith. And welcome to the Wise Counsel Project. I'm joined by Bret Baier, who is anchor, special reporter Bret Baier, the #1 news program on cable.
Don't
Correct?
tell Bill O'Reilly he's not a news program.
Bill O'Reilly needs to hear he's not #1. I think Megan is also number 2.
She's great.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, and Sigma Chi alumnus.
There you go.
Something we have in common.
Oak.
And you're coming back to Atlanta, which is your old stomping ground, and graduated from Marist High School.
I did, and it's fun to be home. Still have a lot of friends down here, no family, but get back every now and then. Gave the commencement speech at Marist this year, so it's been fun.
Well, welcome back, and thanks for
you.
being here with us. We have started the Wise Counsel Project based upon Proverbs 13:20. And I've given you that. If you don't mind, I'd love for you to read it, and you can certainly borrow these if you need them.
No, I got 'em.
But would love your reflection on that.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm.
What does that mean to you, Bret?
Well, I think it means, a lot of things. One is ask for help. You don't have all the answers if you're going through something tough. Mm-hmm. And ask for counsel. Don't be afraid to. Sometimes people are so proud that they take it upon themselves. And whenever you do that, oftentimes there's something that falls through the cracks, whether it's decisions and how to do your life, or it's dealing with some major issue. And so I think counsel in personal life and in professional life is always wise.
Now, I'm not going to ask you to identify the fools in D.C., but from the outside looking in, is there or are there any wise people up there? And do the people outside of D.C. really have any voice nowadays?
There are wise people up there. There are people who are working hard and trying to make that place work. It does not currently work. And at times it's frustrating covering it. It's especially frustrating, for folks who look at Washington. That's why the opinion polls of Congress are down in almost single digits, and as the president's approval, falls as well. I think, there is a hunger for making the place work, and America, as you look at history, has always had a pendulum, and it always swings. And the American people, for the most part, self-correct if there are, issues, it seems. We'll see how it plays out in these next elections. But there are good people on both sides of the aisle up there. There are clearly some bad actors who are just playing the politics of it to get reelected. But there are, people who are trying every day. And I talk to them all the time.
How do you leave work behind when you come home? You're a father of 2 kids, husband. How do you leave it all behind?
Yeah, it's really challenging.
And do you feel like you need to hose off after dealing with some of the politics before you walk in the door?
Yeah, it's frustrating to disconnect, especially in a world of Twitter and Facebook and texting and email, and you're kind of always connected to that iPhone or smartphone. But I really try. I told the story about Jack McQuethy, the late Jack McQuethy at ABC News, who told me on a trip to Iraq once, it's a crazy business. You need to hang up your coat and hang up your job so that you have quality time at home. I try increasingly to do that, but it's tough, and you got to rebalance every now and then.
And I think things, as you've said, were really put in balance when your oldest son, Paul, was diagnosed with congenital heart defect.
Yeah.
Wonderful book. And I tell you, this was a great read, and I felt like when I was reading it, like we're going through the struggle with you guys. So highly recommend this, and congrats to you. 5 weeks on the New York Times as a bestseller.
Thank you.
And you're donating 100% of the proceeds that you receive to research on congenital heart defects. How did faith get you through the struggles that your son was facing?
A big, big part of how we got through it. And that's really a big part of the book, too, is talking about in the darkest moments where we turned. And faith was a big part of it. I had an email relationship that this viewer, who's a pastor, Southern Baptist pastor in Katy, Texas, he would send me emails with these amazing prayers that I would read to my wife through some of the toughest times. I never met him until this book tour, and I specifically had to stop in Katy, Texas to meet Reverend Randy White. And I'm Catholic, and he said, that's okay. And
nice to have that validation.
But I mean, I was taking it from all sides because wherever I could get that inspiration, and he was really, really supportive, as was our parish in D.C. And then prayers from around the globe, really, viewers, friends of friends, and it was really uplifting. And different people think different things, but I can definitively say in our situation, we believed the power of prayer was a big deal for us. I mean, it's how we got to the image of the other side of the tunnel of thinking about this is going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Without it, we wouldn't have that vehicle. At least us. Other people get there different ways, but for us, that was what took us there.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Wise Counsel Project. If you enjoyed it, please consider rating us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. And for more information about the Wise Counsel Project, visit us on the web, wisecounselproject.com. You can also follow me on Twitter @Gary Martin Hayes. Thanks for listening, and God bless.